Alright, what is up everybody? We are back with more of Geneforge 2 Infestation. And yes, I know I did use help to be able to defeat the drakes and all that, and I know I haven't completed like every side mission and stuff like that, but I really wanted to see if I could get it done with, all the leadership and mechanics I had rather than like fighting everything. I'm pretty sure I could have gotten with like combat and stuff like that, but you know what? I'll just take it as it is. And I know I didn't max out my level, but it's okay. I mainly just wanted to get through, see if I could get through the story, and I did. And I know I didn't finish these, finished most of those, but again, it's all good. I can live with it. But anyway, now that the main story is complete, we're pretty much ready to go back home. You stand on the road leading out of these mountains. It is but a 3 days walk to the next city, and a long but safe journey from there to the Shapers Council and their mighty citadel. You have seen much of these mountains and been sorely tested. If you think that your work here is done, you can go home. Is it time for you to leave? And I got 3 achievements with that. Deliver victory to the servants. Uh, get a good ending, and also never create a creation. Okay, so that's good. You decide that you have done all that you can here. It is time. You start to walk down the path heading home. At last, your work in the Dry Peak Mountains is done. You begin the long march back to the Shaper Council. Your feet are sore and your clothes are torn, but you have gained both strength and knowledge. You travel swiftly and without difficulty. You stay at several villages along the way. Of course, the commons know enough to not disturb a Shaper on official business. Without asking, you receive shelter and supplies for your journey. As you travel and spend more time around obedient creations and ordinary common humans, you feel strangely refreshed. After your time in the Dry Peak Mountains, where everyone was warped and none of the laws you grew up with were obeyed, it feels good to be in a place that feels normal. Finally, after several weeks, you reach the Shaper Citadel. The guards at the gate expect your return. After only a short break to rest, bathe, and eat, you are taken to the Shaper Council. You are escorted through long marble halls to the Shaper Council. The 9 old men and women there are very strong, to be sure, but now they look old and scared. They are powerful, true, yet new powers are rising and they must learn of it. Before, they filled you with feelings of awe. You spent many years dreaming of walking among them as an equal. Now, at last, you feel like you can. You have fought and struggled in the name of the Shapers. You have been lost and alone in a hostile place with only their craft to aid you. You have been sorely tempted by alien ideas. You resisted, persevered, and returned home. They ask questions, and you begin your story. You start by telling them what happened to Shanti, Zachary, and Barzal. They learn of the illegal shaping that has been taking place without their knowledge. You speak of the forests and swamps, of new creations and new research, of independent survivals and free drakes. You fail to keep their attention. You find that they aren't concerned. Unhappy, yes. Irritated, yes. But they are an arrogant lot. They don't feel the presence of a threat. Before you can continue your tale, they stop you. They begin to ask you questions, carefully taking turns, not letting you continue until they are satisfied with your answers. They ask what happened to Shanti. Tell them that you found out that she was killed. They ask you if you found her killer. You say that you did and you avenged her death. They are pleased. They ask if you contacted Zachary. You describe your meeting with them. They are very displeased with them. They ask if you contacted Barzal. You describe your meeting with them. They nod. The looks on their faces say one thing. If they have any say in the matter, Barzal is not long for this world. Once their questions are asked, they allow you to resume your story. Their attention is fading, so you quickly get to the heart of the matter. You tell them in more detail of your dealings with Shaper Zachary. You explain how, despite his horrible deceit and crimes, he was willing to repent. He asked you to help him redeem himself and clean up his mess, and you agreed. You can see disgust on the faces of the council. Fortunately, it is aimed at Zachary and Barzal, the failed Shapers, not you. You tell how, following Zachary's instructions, you took the war to the rogues. They learned of the destruction of their enemies and the smashing of the forbidden research. They nod in approval. Finally, you tell of his command for you to return to them. Zachary knew that his work was done and the damage had been repaired. It was time for truth to be exposed and Shaper control to return. One of the council says, "This is a strange and fascinating tale. We must send envoys with all speed to evaluate the situation. Then we must destroy rogues and traitors with greater attention to detail than we showed on Sucia Island." The rest of the council agrees. Your part in the story of Dry Peak, Shanty, Zachary, Barzal, and all the rest of it comes to an end. Troops march to Dry Peak and you return to your life. Within days, a powerful force of Shapers, common warriors, and exceptionally reliable creations are dispatched to the mountains. You are not allowed to escort them, but you later learn what happened. Shaper Zachary was executed, of course. After his deceit, there was no way he could be allowed to live. The settlement of Dry Peak was placed under direct Shaper control. The naive wishes of the awakened were greeted with laughter. Madab was razed to the ground. When the rage of the Shapers calmed, the few survivors that lived were put to work in remote colonies. You never learned what happened to Learn Penner, except that her treatment was swift and final. Rising was treated even more harshly than Madab. The city was blasted into gravel. Everyone, human and creation, was killed. Barzite research was so dangerous and forbidden that nothing touched by them could be allowed to exist. Barzal received special treatment. He was brought back to the Shaper Citadel for speedy public trial and long, slow execution. You were offered a chance to watch. Not wanting your loyalty to be questioned, you accepted. When the Shapers reached the mountains of the Takers, they found that everything had been abandoned. The Drakes and Serviles, knowing the Shapers well, ran. Only the proud Draken stayed. They died. The Shapers could not determine how much research was taken from Binary Us. As for you, your life is a successful one. The Shaper Council is strict. They are ever paranoid about forbidden use of their powers. However, they also know good material when they see it. You won their respect and were loyal when it counted, so you survived. You returned to Shaper training. Your ability to resist modification in the mountains wins great respect from your teachers and peers. You have an easy time in school and pass at the top of every class. Field work is the greatest teacher. Then the Shaper Council puts you to work. Research and minor tasks are seen as a waste of your talents. You are given secret assignments and consulted on difficult decisions. You are a star hunter of rogues. The Shalai infiltrators who formed a small colony in these mountains are able to continue their secret work. Their mission is to steal the techniques of the Shapers and to carry them back over the sea. In particular, they want to take home a large sample of living essence. With your help, they are able to complete this mission. Shaper powers are taken over the sea to faraway lands, there to be practiced by totally untrained hands. Your missions keep you far from the comforts of home. You protect commons from dangerous beasts and aid in the hunt for the missing takers. It is a lonely life and, at times, a dangerous one. However, you attain great power and even a bit of wealth. The dreams of your childhood come true. You not only become a Shaper, but one trusted and valued by the Council. Best of all, at night, as you fall asleep, you often take quiet satisfaction knowing one thing. When the test came, you did not fail. When you were tempted, you were loyal. No matter what the cost, you were a Shaper. Meanwhile, in the abandoned Taker Warrens, dusty and forgotten, something remains. Behind a locked and warded stone door, unnoticed, something waits. Alright, so that was my ending anyway to Geneforge 2 Infestation. I'm very excited for Geneforge 3 to come out, and yeah, I know it kind of feels like I rushed just to get to the ending there, but I really, really wanted to join the servants and, get to the end game, see what it was like, because I've never actually beaten the main story of this before, or at least the original version. And overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the ending I got. I mean, that sounds like a good ending to me. Successful Shaper, stuff like that. And, yeah, I wonder what the other endings are like, but I'm satisfied with that ending. Like I said, I know I kind of just skipped right ahead to, like, the main story and the end game, but I really did want to go ahead and join the servants eventually. And yeah, because there was hostility that happens, when you join one of the factions, you probably should go ahead and do all the side missions you can before you hop into a faction. Or you can just stay unaligned and then do what I did and get an ending that way. And yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Zachary ultimately was executed. But hey, at least Agent Eve becomes a successful shaper, right? That's all that matters to me. So yeah, it is a bummer about Zachary, but like I said, I like that ending. Maybe whenever Geneforge 3 gets remastered and all the other Geneforge games get remastered, I'll actually take on a more rebellious side and maybe be more pro survival on that ones, because the first one I was kind of pro shaper, and the second one I was also, and this one I was also pro shaper as well. So I might spice it up whenever Jeff remasters Geneforge 3. And like I said, I know some of you might be disappointed that I didn't cover like all the missions or complete all of them. But yeah, I was just really eager to join one of the factions and get to the end game. And I wanted to see what the end game was like. I did get some help in that regard, but I really wanted to see what the end game was like, and beating it without, doing a whole bunch of fighting. Even though I ultimately did get into a bunch of combat with a bunch of crazy monsters and not knowing what to do. But yeah, now I understand. Now that I've actually played through it for myself, now I know what route a pacifist has to take, basically, in order to, so you don't lane into it like a bunch of combat stuff like that. So yeah, now I know. And off screen, I'll definitely play this more on my own time and check out like the other endings and stuff. And hey, maybe I'll try a pacifist route that way, something like that. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this Let's Play of Geneforge 2 Infestation. And I hope you enjoyed me playing an agent. It's definitely harder to play when you don't have creations to back you up, but hey, gotta take what you can get. And yeah, I was getting frustrated with my build at times, but hey, that's the price you pay depending on what character you select. So you have to be weak in like some regards. So, but yeah, like I said, I hope you all enjoyed this Let's Play, and I'll see you all with whatever I have next.